And then the symbolism of the weighing of the heart. And then you look at the symbolism of Ankh and the Eye of Horus. To me, it's very apt of the times we're in now. You know, whether it's different prophecies, philosophies, but prophecies mainly, Hopi prophecies, biblical, it's all there. So we really need to get our act together, make sure our heart weighs as light as a feather. Otherwise that little beast is waiting there, if it isn't, to munch us up, and then we come back into the can tend to be glorified samsara, karma, 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 until we get our heart weighing as a feather as we came in to this reality, to this realm as an innocent child. What do you think of that?
I think the heart frequency is the key frequency. The issue today is we struggle, human beings struggle through separation to be able to understand that. And it's what we talked about yesterday. I mean, even with good-willed people, the ego stands in the way.
I know, it's great, isn't it? And then, and the goodwill, see, they're all man-made perceptions. And to me, I think they're spoon-fed what we believe is good. But then, like you, in your years of experience, you can see that, to me, what I see is, it is good to a belief that we've been, whether like a religion, philosophy, but there's beyond that, like I believe you've come to.
I think the place. That's why I think this guy Bruno Gronin really appealed to me, because it's the first time in my life we hear so much on this of the sophistication of the human mind, and that it's beyond mind. You know, gurus don't speak.
I know. It's great.
In logic.
Yeah. And if they do, they're using a language which is riddled with trickery.
Yeah, because nothing's definable.
That's it.
You know, and that's where he says. I mean, Bruno Gronin says, "Just get out of the way."
That's it. Beautiful.
Shut up.
That's it.
Get out of the way.
That's it.
And stop talking.
That's it.
And stop thinking you know religion or anything.
That's it.
God either works through you because you're not present and you're willing for Him to. So you're present for Him.
Yes.
Life.
Beautiful.
And he's very good. He died of all of his insides were burnt up.
Wow.
Because he was the conduit. Because he said, "I'm not a healer. I'm just a conduit for energy that heals people."
Beautiful. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. And the German authorities tried to prosecute him.
Yeah.
Tried to stop him.
Yeah. Like
they defined it as cancer, but some of the doctors said we've never seen insides like his.
Wow.
Because they're just all burnt.
And how did that happen, you believe?
Because he was a conduit for energy.
Yeah. And chose to part when he chose to part.
Yeah,
in that way.
And as we know, the light is much. The light is very powerful.
Yeah. And that's what we are, purely energy. Got caught up in the programs of just this physical identity, the ego identity.
Yeah.
It's like we're not. It's like be in this world, but not of this world. We get to know what world potentially we may have come from, without getting caught up in, as Mike said, the true gurus, you won't speak and you won't see them. So what does that say? So rather than get caught up in certain gurus who are speaking a ideology or a theory or a philosophy, as Mike said, the true gurus don't need to speak, won't even use this language. So that's where we learn the essence, I believe, of our sensories sensing like a child. They're just a conduit.
Because we're not trying to encapsulate an essence of feeling in words, and that's a limitation already.
As soon as the spell.
Yeah.
As soon as we get back to, I believe,
I think poetry is
telepathic.
the closest way. Poetry and parables are the closest way to get beyond the logic.
Yeah, beautiful.
Because
And
you
it's like,
have to, because you if you read poetry, you have to. Anyone who understands poetry, they have to read it in the right way. Because if they don't read it in the right way,
yeah,
it's meaningless.
beautiful.
Um,
Yeah, no, beautiful. And then you could say poets. What do they call it? Poets. The poet's unique license to say what he wants, and if he really gets out of the way, wow, he's just a conduit.
and art is the same.
Yeah,
It's
that's
you
it.
just become the. It's interesting. We have a friend. I have a friend that I used to do martial arts with, and Isabel has this always a desire to go and see him because he doesn't try to impose spirituality because it's just you are the living essence.
Yeah, beautiful. And what we were saying earlier, people in the cafe, well, sharing in the cafe, sharing in this energy, because it is held a bit, was going to go to yoga, and then they just, oh, I'm not feeling it now. And I said, yeah, you know what a top yogi said? He said, we only designed it like that for you Westerners because you cannot sit still. In other words, you cannot get out of the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So we designed these movements so that can maybe help you get out of the way. But then if you're getting caught up in how good you're doing and you can do them all, you're still in the way. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
beautiful.
the ego is, yeah.
It's a great one. I'm going to show you this Peter Tosh one addressing the crowd. So thank you, Mike. I really appreciate, love that, I'm going to say, because of the words we got to watch. Not good morning, good awakening, grand rising, double meanings, hell, oh, I say heaven, oh, things like that. Anyway, I'm just
See,
going.
if you look at I mean, even if you look at here, it's amazing the people here coexist, but they all wear an overcoat.
Yeah, yeah,
And the overcoat is defined by who they think they are.
yeah. Which is the
Which, which is, you've already made a definition.
yeah, that's it. And on a level, I just see we come into, I'm not. It's like get to become aware of potentially who we are, what we're coming into. And if we look at birth and how it is accepted in Western societies, because we just had our daughter 3 years ago nearly, and we did just me and Hannah, call it a wild birth, no one else. We obviously had a midwife on call, and we both got well rehearsed. We did a lotus birth, so we kept the cord until it naturally broke, and then we did skin to skin for 10 days. No one else came.
You did what for 10 days?
Just if Hannah needed to go to the toilet, we've got the basket with the placenta.
Right.
So I'd have Baba skin to skin. The baby wouldn't come off our skin for 10 days or more. So that was, I said, the first time I had her on my chest, which we're all missing,
Right.
was what I reached in 6-day dry fasting. I had her for 20 seconds. It took me 6 days of dry fasting, that means no water, no food, to hit that same space. So then you realize, because of the programming, we're denied our path of rites of passage. So that all these things, and really on another level, I realized even before we conceive, if you want to get the best seed, don't we? If we're going to plant a seed in the ground, so whoever's providing that seed, let's clean a bit before we even think about birthing a beautiful seed.
Well, when the sperm and the egg unite, that is an amazing act of explosion of the divine creation. That is divinity in itself. But we pollute that.
I know, it's good.
We pollute it with all our own corruptions.
And
The
because
dark side or the right side.
but because of the identity, the constructs,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say it's like a psyop, military operation. We're coming in here like an experiment. Okay, like the snakes and ladders, like playing chess. It's like, okay, that's what's going on. As long as we know what's going on. So me personally, once I realised that, and for me, trauma, I see all cultures, especially, I'm going to say more the European, not saying tribals don't do the same thing, but they keep people down, oppressed in one form or another. So what I see is inflict fear, trauma, and then especially if you think of native Canadians, Aboriginals, Indians, and then feed them alcohol. So on another realm, they feed them that, and then other realms, spirits can really take over. That's my witnessing and experiencing. I used to see all sorts of things when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I can identify that. I know that I need a good cleanse because my body is now wrapped with a whole load of
Identity.
well, no, not really.
Okay,
yeah,
no, I'm saying.
but yes, yeah, it is identity. Not even identity. Yeah, it's.
But as soon as we stagnate
Well,
in
it's
indefinitely,
well, I don't believe I'm fulfilling my role.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
As simple as that.
So there's parts of you in terms of the full being of you. I mean, me and Mike's had some beautiful conversation, and we're bantering and bouncing off each other. But I see there's not many people who can kind of come on a level. So it's just like sometimes you just, without even knowing, you can't beat them. You join them.
Isabel says to me, "You see people's egos immediately," because she says some of your volunteers struggle.
Yeah.
Which I kind of laugh because she's a spirit child.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah,
know
it's beautiful.
that because she was. I'm just writing a poet for her birthday today. A poet.
Yeah, I'm going to make a little cake.
So I've got to try and do it at some point. But I was just doing a memory. I toned her when she must have been a month old, and the difference in the change.
Wow. And the beautiful thing is having some of these tools. We need tools.
And I also
Authentic ones.
sent her to bed every night with a positive message
Oh, beautiful.
about her, about life,
Oh,
which ironically, and I'm not judging the mother because we're in different spaces.
Yeah,
she came from a different place.
yeah. And you know, I had a similar scenario. I'm going to say I've embraced all the relationships, you know, long term, 10-year, and then another 12-year. And it wouldn't have made me who I am today. So if I can't forgive or whatever, but all it is forgiving me. So it's nothing to do with them. And then really we got to then forgive the parents for installing that dysfunction, which we carry on. And then maybe the lineage will just, you know, of ancestral, you know, it can just
Energy has to
dissipate.
be broken, but the thing is, it's so deep in your subconscious.
Yeah, in the
You
psyche.
think you're breaking it, and you're not. I mean,
I know.
I've written a book on ego, and I'm still governed by everything that I was brought into this world by.
Yeah. But
And I struggle with it.
But the interesting
today.
thing is, you know, in terms of, you know, let's just say with that, because a true guru truly knows, he won't write books, he won't really speak. So on some level, you could say you might have got caught up on the academia, which I think we trade in academia for wisdom. And then you think the installation in the institutions, like schools, etc., they get you into the left brain, which is logic, as opposed to your imagination, art, poetry. You know, they stamp that out of you. It gets crushed.
Our creative instincts are completely. Most people, you know, most people want to feel, you know, as I was saying, power. The human ego loves power.
I have an analogy.
It just loves it.
I have an analogy. When I first went on Instagram, I used to do Facebook. I'm like, wow, this is an interesting realm I'm entering into here. And I was shown, you enter into that, you just keep it real, Pete. Okay. And then the analogy of Lord of the Rings. It's like we put the ring on and we've all forgotten. Put the ring on, wow, powerful, invisible. But the one-eyed,
Oh,
they come and got you and you forgot you've been got
These
them.
guys are so sophisticated.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep on telling everybody, don't underestimate the people in power today.
Yeah, I know.
Because they have spiritual principles, but on the dark side. Theirs is about control.
Yeah.
And
they
mine is about freedom.
Yeah.
And what does freedom mean to people? You still need structures in freedom.
Yeah.
You can't have a society without a structure.
That's it. Because even like, you know, God created the rose, the tree, it still has a structure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be seeing a tree with 50, 60 different forms of flowers and trees on it. It's just like the oak is an oak, you know?
Everything has a structure,
Yeah.
and life is often about. And I think Who did I read recently? Oh, a Shaolin monk. It is always about discipline. There's got to be some form of discipline.
Massively. And
You don't get up here and do nothing to create your food.
Yeah.
You have to have a discipline to do it.
Yeah. So, and then that comes to these beautiful words. Are you there, Hannah? These words here, and so when you do that, just by doing that, you are helping others. But you got to help yourself first, and then the other words is.
Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world, and today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself.
There you go.
There you
So
go.
them two beautiful things, you know. And then so I'm having a beautiful conversation with Mike. I wanted to. This has been just actually impromptu, spontaneous. While I was going to do something else, but it's a great conversation, loversation, I'm going to say. But what you mentioned was so they because people say who are they? Well, ultimately they are all us. We are all dark and light. Yeah, man-made. Far as I'm concerned, devil and God, it's man-made. So it's just an analogy of our, I'm going to say more shadow, the darker side, the things we don't want to look at.
Yeah, we are dark and light.
That's it.
And and if I'm in an ego conflict at the moment, am I choosing the dark or am I choosing?
There you
the
go.
light?
What wolf are you feeding more?
Yeah. Well, no, which way? And I'm definitely in the dark energies.
And then the dark energies. What could we say that? I could just say, okay, some things have got stagnated. So when soon as stagnation happens, even on the meridian from a Chinese perspective, I learned certified in Jinshin Jiu-Jitsu, that was amazing. So if the energy is closed down in areas, there comes stagnation, then comes infestation.
And death.
There you go. And it doesn't have to be that. I'm sure you come across, whether we believe it or not, but we believe a load of nonsense, so I'd rather believe this. How old was Noah, potentially? 800.
Oh, I know. I believe that we live a lot shorter lives than we ever used to.
Yeah.
I believe that our belief systems have told us we're living longer lives.
Yeah. And then Book of Enoch. And then coming across something recently, which I would love to get actually, it's like, especially there's an amazing person coming out of Africa. And let's just amazing human being. It could be a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, it could be a woman. He happens to be more melanin rich. So let's not get caught up in how things are weaponized. But to me, he's like a reflection of what is happening at the moment. He could be Christ, which we all got Christ consciousness. So he is transforming Africa and on some level supporting, being a conduit to eradicate a disease, a dysfunction, and it's like colonialism all over
Again,
Africa. And
but
then
globalization is that.
I know.
It's precisely
So-
about taking everywhere the resources,
I know.
the energy
Yeah.
of.
And then men before him that have got tarnished and wrote his story to convince England people and this and that with the news that the person wasn't good. Like Gaddafi, you wanted to go to university, you get all flights paid going to England. You get married, you get about 50 grand. You want to do a farm, you get all the machinery produced. So this man's come along and is doing the same thing. Already, France apparently had their currency in about 5 of the African countries. When you could dig deep, it's amazing. So 5 countries have aligned, 4 maybe, and they've kicked out America and France and Britain to a degree. So all these countries are wobbling. Actually, I won't go too deep in that because it's maybe not very wise on this speaking here. So, but on another level, basically it's like a parasite cleanse.
Yeah, people like Gaddafi, people who go against the Western system, the banking system. Russia's another example.
Yeah, beautiful, huh?
Because they don't want to be. They never did. The Tsar never wanted to be part of it.
Hence, they're always painted.
As the bad people.
James Bond.
Yeah.
What one's it's going to be now? Oh, it's the Arabs. Oh, it's the Russians. Oh, it's the South Africans.
There's always somebody else. The Joneses, anyone else to blame.
And then
I've done a poem on that one.
Yeah, and we don't realise all these I used to love James Bond.
I'll
Mission Impossible, you love them, but wow, the subliminal
Yeah.
programming that's going on there.
We have programming. The behavioural insights team now is infecting and nudging us every day. Every day.
Yeah,
Even Radio 4 Stories, there's a nudge.
yeah. A little plant. They wouldn't be there if they. In other words, meanwhile, whilst media is controlled, TV is controlled by the more controllers. Whoever is out there, that's why I like what. This is what I've been showing. What Mike said. True, authentic information. True gurus would not be coming over here. True, authentic. They would not be true shamans. They'd be like, why would I waste my time? And then we can play, yeah, well, God said this. God said, well, I respect your God, and that's your truth, so I respect that. But if you're asking me, I'm going to say my experience is once you reach that space, you can do much more by keep doing this, as opposed to taking people's power away. And so, yeah, but this Pete, that Pete, well, that's all I can say on that one. Otherwise, you're getting false gurus, false people, especially in the early days of following a raw food diet. You are set up to fail. Fortunately, I had a different connection and to get onto real living foods with the real living enzymes. There's an alkaline, I'm going to say lots of propaganda about alkaline and acidic. If you're cooking it, just don't even mention it. You've killed it. All the enzymes, all the nutrients. So no one come and tell me, by the way, don't